Hello everyone! Today I am setting up this 20-gallon long fish tank for a betta fish. I set this tank up in December for my axolotl, but she has been moved to a new tank, a 29-gallon, and so I'm just going to break the tank down. There's no substrate in it right now, and I'm going to just pull everything out, drain the water out, and then I'm going to do what I do with all of my tanks that are planted. Well, most of them, I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them I put a layer of aqua soil and then I cap that with sand, and then I add all my plants. I'm going to be scaping this tank. It is for a betta fish, but I will also be adding a school of tetras. You know, it's a nice size of tank where a betta fish and other fish can live together peacefully. I will be adding plenty of plants to be able to accomplish that as well. I just want to show you guys what the tank looks like right now. It looks like a hot mess, but don't worry. I've just kind of been using this as a holding tank. Like all of my plant trimmings, when I trim the plants in my tank, I just throw them in there. And I've bought some plants for the scape that, you know, obviously I haven't used them yet, so they've all just been like sitting in here waiting. This piece of driftwood has been soaking for like a month or more, so it's obviously fully submerged. And I just wanted to show you guys this. This is my sweet potato vine. It has been growing like crazy, but before I pull this vine off to use this, because I will be using this to film the video, I wanted to show you guys. I thought it looked cool. It's like nature and modern world meets. I don't know. It looks neat. I feel bad having to pull it off there. I should probably go get those like little clear command hooks and start hooking them on the wall and growing the vines all along this wall over to the window. That would look very neat. And then I have this pothos right here. And because I put a lid on this aquarium, I can just kind of set it in there. I don't have anything holding it up. And as you can see, the duckweed has completely overtaken the top of the tank, so I'll need to pull some of that out. But yeah, I am excited to get started. And you guys are probably wondering what betta fish I'm going to put in here. And honestly, I don't know. I was going to set it up for Kai, my betta fish that lives over here in this 40-gallon. Let's see, where is he actually? He's been busy on a bubble nest in the back. He was up front this morning though to say hi, so I don't know. Anyway, Kai, my large koi male, I don't know if he's considered a giant. Oh, here he is. Hey, buddy. I was going to set up the 20-gallon long for him because, like I said earlier in a previous video, I was going to sell this 40-gallon tank, but I was not going to sell him because he's gorgeous. I could never sell him. However, I put the tank up for sale. No one was buying it, and it's my favorite tank. So I decided it would be worth it. Oh, there's the female. There's Starfish. That's right. I have a male and female betta fish living together peacefully. They get along great. They breed probably about once a week. I have not seen any betta fry in here. I think the schooling fish probably pick them off. I probably shouldn't have added them to the tank, but at this point it is what it is. So, but yeah, they live together peacefully. However, I will have this tank as a backup. Like, let's say Kai starts picking on Starfish too much, I can add her to this tank. Or let's say I find some baby betta fry in there, some that's old enough to just be scooped out. I can also put them in here, just so that they have a higher chance of survival. I guess I do have my female betta fish named Rainy here in this tank. She could also go in the 20-gallon long, but she's doing just fine in this 20-gallon tall, so, you know, I don't see any need to move her. If someone wants to come buy this tank and I want to keep her, or maybe they don't want her, you know, I could add her to the tank, but for now, she's doing great in here. Her fins are healing back very nicely. She's looking great. This tiger lotus is thriving. I do think I need to add a filter to the tank. The water is becoming stagnant. Obviously it's not affecting the fish. It's mostly affecting like the driftwood and some of these plants. It's just looking kind of gross. so might add a filter if the tank does not sell soon. All right, I'm going to just get this lid off. I will begin to drain the water, and then I'll start removing all the plants. I need to scoop out the duckweed, throw that away, stuff like that. Let me get the pump set. Well, maybe I should take the plants out before I drain the water all out. Let me do that real quick. I got most of the water all drained out. I tried to scrub most of the algae off the glass. There's still a little bit, but that should be fine. And now for the fun part. I'm going to start adding substrate. I have ADA, Aqua Soil, Amazonia to add in here. And I want to have like a layered look, so I'm going to add it mostly to the back and just kind of taper it off to the front. And same with the sand. And I'll get started on that. They also include this bag of supplement. I do not use it. I just use the Aqua Soil. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt anything to use it, but I just don't, I guess, for whatever reason. I don't know why. I just don't feel a need to, I guess. The Aqua Soil itself is great, so. Oh, I think I may have pushed a little too much to the front. Let me kind of push this all back a little. I'm kind of making a mess because there's still water in here, so it's kind of like all muddy. But this is so much easier to work with than potting soil. You can use organic potting soil instead of Aqua Soil, and it is a much cheaper option. However, this stuff goes a long ways, and it's not active, so you don't have to worry about burning the roots of your plants off if you accidentally shove it too far down in the sand and get some of the roots into the Aqua Soil. Oh, I need to go wash my hands now. And for our sand, we have this beautiful natural looking sand. It is play sand that I bought. I've already rinsed it. Well, I kind of flushed it. I don't know if you could call it rinsed, but I flushed the sand. I was told that the bag was 20 pounds, but I don't know. It feels much heavier than 20 pounds. I'm just gonna scoop the sand out using this. It may take a while, so I will try to get it done quick. I love how natural looking this sand is. All right, I got the sand all in. It's looking beautiful. All the Aqua Soil is capped off. And this is play sand, so I did rinse it very well, or flushed it kind of. I kind of just shoved the hose down in there and tried to just do that until the water came out a lot clearer. And look how much sand I have left. Like, it's a 5-gallon bucket. There's I think I used about half of it. And they told me that the bag of sand was like about 20 to 25 pounds. I think it was probably more like 30 to 40 pounds. And the bag of play sand only cost me like $5. It was like 4 something. So basically $5. So just to buy this much sand right here at a pet store or fish store would cost me like 20 bucks. And I still have like half left over. So it's like a very small fraction of the price if you buy play sand. You just have to take a little extra time to rinse it out, but I also think it looks so much more natural. It's like a mixture of fine gravel and sand, and I think this will look really nice. It's not super bright white, it's not black. It should hide algae really well and just look very nice. Now for the fun part, I can begin scaping it. All right, now I just gotta decide how I want this to lay in here. All right, I think that looks natural. I also have a bunch of stones to add in here. Like a bunch. I'm wondering if this is going to end up being too big. Well, we shall see. This thing is heavy. Okay, that looks kind of large in proportion to the tank. And in proportion to the driftwood especially. Maybe this, I don't know. I could always stick it over here, but So I kind of just messed around with the rock, and I ended up kind of angling it and then pushing sand up to it to make it look a little bit smaller in the front and then go up in the back, which also just adds more depth to the tank, and I do like that. We'll see. I do have a lot of other rocks. I'm just gonna put them in here and start messing around with them. See what I like. And then I will obviously add accent stones as well. And I do have a couple more stones that I was going to use for a different scape, but they're the same stones as this, so I could also bring those out as well. Because this driftwood has been soaked, I don't need to glue it to the rocks, so I don't have to worry about placing them in a way like that, you know. Grabbed a couple of other stones that I had for a different scape because I felt like there just wasn't quite enough stone in here. Whoops. Oh. We'll see if I can finish the scape without breaking my tank. Oh, I don't know. That looks fairly natural. I'm not overly fond of how this driftwood is just cut off flat. It looks obviously not natural. So over here I just put this up against a rock, but right here I might just glue some moss to it. I think I'll probably end up doing that. I'll let you guys get an up close look of it. This is what I have so far, and I'm liking it. The only thing I'm not overly fond of is this piece of driftwood. This branch right here comes all the way to the front. So if you're trying to catch any fish, or if you're trying to scrape algae off, It does make it a little bit harder, but it also gives the tank more depth because, you know, it comes from almost all the way to the back of the tank and then just angles to the front. So I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. If it becomes a problem, I could always just kind of break this little stem off right here and then just put it down here to make it look like a root system, something like that. Which, now that I think about it, maybe I should flip it over so that the smaller branches are on the bottom to look more like roots. I don't know, let's see. I may do that instead. Oh, might have to flip it completely. No, that's not gonna work. The top part is too heavy. And I could do it like that, but that just looks weird. So I think I'm gonna go back to how I had it before. Now that I have the hardscape added, I'm going to begin adding these plants back in. These were all the plants that I had just thrown in the tank. So I'm going to prepare them and then I will start planting. Hopefully my husband does not see this video of me using his desk for preparing plants for my fish tank. Now I'm going to begin gluing like the moss and the epiphytes to the driftwood, and I'm going to be using the Seachem Flourish glue. Stuck to my finger instead. So I have the tank all planted. I know it looks very sparse. However, once these plants fill in, I will have the look that I am trying to achieve. And that way I can spend way less money on plants, but still get the look that I'm going for. Let me fix this. There we go. That's better. So I have some like pearlweed up here by the rocks, just kind of as a foreground plant. I have some crypt. I have an Amazon sword back here that I think will look really nice once it fills in nice and big behind this large rock. I have one little anubias because it was just a random anubias in the tank. I have moss glued to the driftwood. I have Java fern glued to some of the rocks. I'm not a big fan of Java fern because I feel like it requires a lot of maintenance to keep it looking nice. However, it is a very easy plant to keep alive. And these are all babies that some of my adult Java fern grew after as they were dying, you know. I also have some Rotala back here. I have a tiger lotus over here in the corner, and some dwarf sage all along the back, which will look gorgeous once it all fills in and grows up. Then the whole background of this will just be like green grass and Rotala like stem plants. All these plants that I have in this tank are very easy for me to keep alive. They're very easy for me to maintain. The stem plants will need trimmed back occasionally. The dwarf sage will probably start making its way out here to the front. If I don't like the looks of it, I can always just pull some of it out as it comes to the front. But honestly, I think I probably will like the looks of it if it just overtakes the tank. I originally thought that boulder was way too big for this tank, but honestly, I'm loving it. I think that's like actually my favorite feature in the tank now. I'm going to get this all filled up with water so that the plants do not dry out too much, and then I will add this potato or sweet potato stems back in, and the floaters and the pothos and all that. I just got a whole mess going on in here, and we have a showing in like a few hours, so I was trying not to rush myself with the planting, but I really wanted to get the tank done today. So yeah, I think I'm making good time. I should have enough time to fill the tank up with water, get all this stuff put back in there, and then clean my house before the show. I was about to fill up the tank and I remembered I haven't added my accent pebbles yet. So I'm going to sprinkle those around all these rocks and fill it up with water, and we'll see how it looks. When I sprinkle my pebbles, I try to just I don't overthink it, you know. I just kind of put them in around the rocks. Try not to smash any of the little plants down that are growing around them. And it's okay if some of them land in places that you didn't really want pebbles, because it just gives it more of a natural look, you know. I'm probably not going to put a whole lot of pebbles. The sand does have a lot of like smaller rocks in it. I don't really want to take away from that, but you know, the more texture and detail you can add to a tank, the better. I think I might need some up in here. Maybe some more right here. And I think that's probably enough. So a bag this size really goes a long way. So I began filling up the tank the same way I fill up all the others. You know, I put a cup in here and I start pouring water into it, but this play sand moves a lot easier than the aquarium sand. I don't know if it's finer or, and I don't think it's finer, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, it moves a lot easier. And I washed up some of the aqua soil, so I had to cover it back up with sand. There's still some up here in the foreground, but that's okay. I just put some sand on top, added some gravel. But now what I'm doing is I have like a little tiny, it's basically air hose. It is air hose that I am like siphoning out. So it's like coming out at a tiny little trickle so that I don't mess up the play sand. Now this would be extremely inconvenient for someone that does water changes on a regular basis, because it would take you so long to add more water back to the tank. However, I don't do water changes much, not on tanks that are set up like this. This tank has plants in it, and I won't have it heavily stocked at all, not until the plant, like I'll stock it a little bit more once the plants grow in and there's a lot more plants. But for now, I think I'll just have some ember tetras in here and a betta fish and some snails, of course. I always have snails in all of my aquariums. I may add shrimp, I'm not sure. Shrimp do better in cold water, not warm water, and all the fish that I will be keeping in here will need warm water. Slowly filling up. I'm already kind of nervous about how this tank's going to look. As you can see, this water is extremely murky, and I do not want to do another big water change on it once I get it filled up, because obviously it's going to take me a long time to get it filled up. I'm hoping it can be filled before the showing, or at least enough water in it so that these plants aren't drying out. I'm going to mist them as this is slowly filling up. And I do have a sponge filter to add to this fish tank once it is filled up with water. It is a cycled sponge filter. I used it in a previous tank. It's currently running in a tank right now. So that should also help just clear up the water and balance the tank out quickly. And while this tank is very slowly filling up, I'm going to get my house cleaned and ready for the showing. So this is what I ended up doing to fill up the tank. It's about halfway full. The water's looking very cloudy. Obviously, I did not wash the sand well enough, apparently. But this is a much larger siphon than this. This is still filling it up, but I started to realize that using this method was going to take like half of forever. And so this works. This is a much larger pipe. It lets out more water, but I just have it going into the cup. It was trying to wash away some of the sand before the water level got above the cup, but now that the water level is above the cup, it's not making any issues with the substrate. So if I ever do water changes on the tank, this is how I will do them. It just makes it easier. And I don't think I'm going to do any water changes to get rid of this cloudiness. I mean, if it really persists, like if it's still there and after a few weeks, I might, but I'm just going to throw in my cycled sponge filter and hope that this kind of just takes care of it on its own. You can see parts are not very cloudy, some parts are more cloudy. But yeah, I'm not too worried about the cloudiness. I'm not adding any fish right now. There's just some snails in there. And if it's still cloudy next week, I won't add fish, but if it's cleared up by next week, I probably will add a school of red ember tetras. So the tank is completely finished. It's been all filled up. I just need to add some water conditioner. Not that there's any fish in here, but I'll do it anyway. I got these plants added back in, the pothos. I put the pothos right over the top of the filter to hopefully kind of break some of that, you know, all the bubbles that come out and just kind of make a mess around the tank. I'm hoping that the pothos will kind of catch some of that. I did have the tiger lotus in the corner, and then I realized that I needed to put the sponge filter in the corner. So I moved it to, you know, it's still kind of in the background, but moved it over there. The driftwood dried out enough while I was filling up the tank and stuff that it's not laying completely down how it should be. But I'm guessing within a matter of hours or maybe a day or so, it should be laying down how it's supposed to. As you can see, the water is very cloudy. I'm hoping the little sponge filter can fix it on its own. But if not, I can do a water change. As the water in the tank got up higher, I was able to just pour the water in. I would just kind of put my hand there to stop, to kind of break the water so that it didn't move the sand around, and that worked really well. So I think water changes will be easy on this tank if they're necessary. We shall see. Right now it's about noon, so I'll come back this evening, probably around 7 or 8, probably more around 8 because we have another showing for our house later this evening. And I'm just going to show you guys like if it's cleared up, if it's still really cloudy. I'm curious to see how long it takes to clear up if I don't intervene at all. So this is the tank at the end of the day. It is currently like 8:30 in the evening and it's getting the evening sun. As you can see, the water has cleared up a lot. Like I can actually see to the back of the tank now. I'm guessing it should be most of the way cleared up by tomorrow because it's cleared up so much in just a few hours. So that mighty little sponge filter is doing its job. I just love how this tank looks. I love how it turned out. I was trying to kind of replicate this tank, which I think the light's already turned off for the evening. You can kind of see into it, but the piece of driftwood, for anyone wondering what it is, it's manzanita. Same as the piece of driftwood over here in this tank. I used similar stones, and I wasn't trying to make it look just like this tank or anything, but I was kind of using this tank as inspiration, and yet this tank came out looking so different, and yet I think I love it just as much. We'll see. I'll have to wait until the plants kind of fill in and stuff and see like what the roots all look like on the water lettuce. I like it better when those kind of start growing down a bit. I just like my tanks to look really overgrown with plants. So I think I will like it a lot better once the plants all start growing in. But I do love it. I do love how it turned out. Also, I'm in love with the play sand I used. Like, look how natural that looks. It's almost like the exact same color as this stone right here. That's kind of funny. You can see it back here. Like, it's just such a natural color. I like, look at that color versus over here, over to my axolotl tank, her color on her sand. Hi, Squishy. I mean, this sand is like really white, super bright, which is nice for Squishy because she really pops off of it and it complements her well. However, you know, and the tank still looks great, right? However, this tank just looks so natural. Like, it kind of looks like you just are looking at the bottom of a lake. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you like this aquascape? Is there any way I can improve it? I would love to hear from you guys. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.